Welcome to the Cinematic Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the dark, rain-soaked streets to follow the absolutely wild journey of Geo Kim. You see, he's a boy whose greatest superpower is completely tied to his deepest, darkest tragedy. If you're familiar with the Manhwa scene, you already know this story hits incredibly hard. But man, when you lay out the full narrative like this, the sheer emotional weight of Geo's path just hits different. Let's get right into it.
So think about this for a second. What if immortality wasn't a blessing, but a straight-up curse? Imagine surviving 10 agonizing years of horrific lab torture, literally unable to die no matter what they do to you. It's brutal. Geo was reduced to a terrifying, skinless, walking skeleton. I mean, the poor kid was wandering the city, literally eating garbage out of trash cans, just to trick his empty stomach into feeling full.
To really get why this happened, we've got to talk about the lore real quick. Geo is what's known as a heart mutant. In this universe, a super rare mutation gives certain people these bizarre hearts with totally unique supernatural abilities. Geo, well, he's got a resurrection heart, which, yeah, makes him practically immortal. But unfortunately, that turned him into the ultimate unkillable test subject for the incredibly ruthless Hermes research lab. They just wouldn't stop hunting him.
That brings us to Section 1, the Immortal Skeleton Escape. Let's look at exactly how our skeletal hero finally manages to break free from that decade of torment.
Okay, so he doesn't just casually walk out of this lab. No, he short-circuits his way out. He grabs these live, high-voltage cables with his bare, bony hands and just fries his captors. He takes the massive electrical hit himself just so they couldn't drag him back in. It's insane. Out in the unforgiving city, though, Geo's life takes a beautiful turn. He runs into Heidi, this incredibly kind girl who completely ignores his terrifying skeletal look and buys him a sandwich. It's his first real food in a decade. He even shares some of it with a little stray dog he names Potato. You know, his first real friend.
But this is a dark story, so the peace absolutely doesn't last. Section 2, Rebirth in a Bloody Reckoning. Hermes' lab is still hot on his trail. You really have to pay attention to this rapid chain of events, because it completely flips the power dynamic of the whole story. Kidnappers ambush them and actually hit Geo with a car at full speed. To save his life, the street dogs, including Little Potato, throw themselves in the way. It's heartbreaking. Driven by just pure, unadulterated grief over losing his friend, Geo's resurrection heart goes into overdrive. It fully activates, absorbing the blood of the fallen dogs right off the asphalt. And in seconds, he rapidly regenerates from a hollow skeleton into a fully formed, pretty handsome human guy. And guys, his newly awakened stats are completely off the charts. Operating with basically god-tier abilities, Geo just obliterates the kidnappers in this abandoned warehouse to rescue Hayati. We're talking instant regeneration, super strength, blood absorption to fuel his heart, and insanely high-speed combat. Right then and there, he proves he is absolutely done being a helpless victim. But here's the thing about physical strength. It doesn't do much against emotional devastation. Section 3, Betrayed by a Brother. Geo starts looking for answers about the other test subjects who escaped the lab years ago. He tracks down an underground broker, and wow, this twist hurts. The broker is Chiwan, his childhood friend from the lab. This perfectly shows the horrific, twisted moral compromises the lab forces on its victims. Chiwan used to be the protective kid who made Geo a makeshift sword arm to make him feel brave. Now, he's a cold-blooded trafficker working for the very people who tortured them, all just to pay for his sick sister's medical bills. It's a complete lose-lose situation. And this leads to a brutal, emotionally shattering fight in an iron factory. Chiwan uses his Heart of the Sword mutation to essentially turn the whole place into a giant blender, shooting metal spikes out of literally everything. But Geo, fueled by total heartbreak and his endless regeneration, he just absorbs Chiwan's blood mid-fight and completely overpowers him. I mean, Geo is literally punching through solid walls of iron just to ask his best friend why he betrayed him. Right as the dust settles on that devastating brawl, we hit our next turning point, Section 4, the Mutant Task Force.
So heavily armed forces suddenly swarm the place. But plot twist, they aren't from the lab. They're led by Hyen, the Mutant Task Force leader. She has these terrifying telekinetic powers, and get this, she's actually Heidi's older sister. Hyen arrests Chiwan, but after a tense interrogation and seeing what Geo can do, she recruits him instead. Geo looks at his own hand and vows, "I'll tear that entire laboratory to pieces no matter what it takes." Just like that, a secret alliance to take down Hermes' lab is born.
Before things get too crazy, we actually get a super fun, lighthearted shift. To keep Geo off the radar, Hyen enrolls him in a normal high school. It's hilarious. He makes a new buddy named Taigu, and Geo's complete lack of social skills combined with his terrifying super strength makes for some truly amazing undercover ops. Oh, and this peaceful break is perfectly highlighted by Hyeti's highly questionable AI-generated cooking. She literally makes braised short ribs mixed with whole strawberries and tangerines. And Geo, the guy who ate garbage for 10 years, he genuinely thinks it's a culinary masterpiece. It's so wholesome.
Well, enjoy the laughs while you can, because it's back to business. Section 5. The Heart of Stone. Geo sneaks into Hotting Construction to confront its CEO, Kang Do-young.
Now, Do-young is another former lab friend. To see exactly where his loyalties lie, Geo totally provokes him, which kicks off an insane clash. Do-young has the Heart of Stone mutation. He wraps himself in this impenetrable rock armor and starts setting off massive underground earthquakes. This basically forces Geo to reveal his ultimate regeneration. It's crazy. Geo quite literally shrugs off being crushed by colossal boulders like it's absolutely nothing. But the way this fight ends is what's really crucial here. Do-young recognizes it's Geo because of that unique healing. He instantly drops his rock defenses and admits he secretly wants to destroy the lab too. Geo asks him a really loaded question. What should he do if he faces another betrayal? And Do-young just looks at him and says, "You fight." No hesitation. After that, Do-young throws his massive corporate resources into helping orchestrate a full-blown rescue mission.
Which brings us to the climax of today's explainer. Section 6. The rescue mission begins.
Our newly formed alliance sets their sights on a heavily armed Hermes transport convoy. The objective? Rescue their old lab friend Noreen, a girl who has a really unique cactus heart. The ambush kicks off with straight-up cinematic flair. Do-young summons these colossal stone pillars right out of the asphalt to stop the trucks dead in their tracks, throwing us right into the middle of a high-stakes, action-packed war zone.
The lab guards are packed with heavy firepower, but our heroes are literally forces of nature. At one point, the guards hit Geo with a specialized stun gun. We're talking 50,000 volts of electricity at 50 milliamps. It literally lights up his skeleton from the inside under his skin. But you know what Geo does? He just absorbs the massive charge and blasts it straight back at the squad in one huge burst, clearing the whole street in seconds. Incredible. So they win the skirmish. Geo rips the reinforced transport doors off their hinges in the pouring rain, totally expecting to save his friend. But there's a chilling discovery. Narn isn't inside. The lab pulled a fast one and swapped her out at the very last second. The perspective immediately cuts away to this sterile, completely terrifying lab room deep inside a temporary holding facility. Naren is strapped down to a table. She's unconscious, but her cactus heart is instinctively shooting these lethal red spines out of her body to keep a terrified doctor away. It never stops defending her.
And standing there, just observing all this chaos, is a mysterious, pale-haired supervisor. He's watching her struggle with this completely bored look on his face. In fact, a researcher runs in, panicking to tell him about Geo and Do-young's ambush on the convoy, and the guy doesn't even flinch. He's so cold, so calculated, and 100% focused on just extracting their regeneration data.
Cut back to the raiding streets. Geo doesn't miss a beat. He grabs a conscious guard, extracts the location of the holding facility, and he and Do-young instantly pivot their attack. They start tearing through the remaining outer security, literally crumbling concrete and steel as they push relentlessly deeper into the compound. They are not stopping.
So as our immortal hero breaches those final concrete walls, stepping right back into the very nightmare he spent 10 long years trying to escape, we've got to wonder, with the transport breached and that terrifyingly calm supervisor waiting, what kind of true nightmare is actually waiting for Geo inside that lab? What you should really take away from all this is that surviving the trauma was only step one. Facing it all over again to save the people you love, that is the ultimate test of his immortality. Let me know what you think of Geo's wild journey so far and keep exploring.